Okay, so it looks like we are live on both channels. Wonderful. All right. So hello and welcome to everyone. We are going live on behalf of the Society for Public Health Education to you from not only Facebook, but also our YouTube channel. So if you're joining us today, let us know where you're coming from. And we would be so excited to learn about who you are and what's connecting you to us as one of our social media followers. We're really quickly going to just introduce ourselves and then talk a little bit about some upcoming events for SOPHE's advocacy in the near future. So hello, my name is Heather Flattery. I'm the Manager of Membership and Marketing at the Society for Public Health Education. And we are so excited to talk to you about our upcoming Fall Advocacy Summit. So if you have any questions about that, we will answer definitely on Thursday, but we can have a little bit of time today as well. And then we have a few other upcoming events, including live streams and some really great webinars, not only this month, but also next month. So Dr. Smith, do you want to start off by telling us who you are and where you're from?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Welcome for joining us this morning. My name is Dr. Megan Smith, and I am in the Public Health and Population Science Department of Boise State University. And I'm also a co-chair of the SOPHE Advocacy Committee, along with...
Hi, I'm Dr. Alexis Blavos. I usually go by Lexi, so you probably know me as that. I am an associate professor at SUNY Cortland in central New York, and I'm also the director of advocacy for Eta Sigma Gamma and the co-chair of the SOPHE Advocacy Committee, so that's why I'm here.
Wonderful.
Yeah, awesome.
So we want to talk a little bit about the Advocacy Summit this year and the general theme. Do either of you want to kind of tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So this year, it's the theme is advancing health equity at every level. And yep, just as you see down below, the early bird registration deadline for that is September 13th. The good thing, if you sign up early, is that you will get a chance to meet with your federal representative or their team, which is a really excellent opportunity to get those advocacy skills in practice. I don't know, Lexi has led the charge for the Advocacy Summit for many years. So do you want to say more about the Advocacy Summit?
Yeah, actually, even if you don't sign up by the early bird date, you can schedule your own meetings with your legislators and still participate. But if you get in for early bird, then SOPHE will take the charge for you and actually schedule those meetings, get them on the legislators' books, and have an app available to help you kind of navigate that. So it's best if you can, you save a little bit of money, but you also get that added benefit from SOPHE. Every year, the Advocacy Summit has a few different tracks, and one of those tracks is kind of for, first-time attendees, so I think we call it Advocacy 101. The summit every year has new attendees, whether they're students, practitioners, or faculty across the U.S., and so getting acquainted with the work that you'll be doing is really important. And for those of us who've been coming for a long time, my first summit was in 2005.
Nice.
I've come most years since then. So for the rest of us who have been around for a little while, there are different tracks either related to a specific health topic or some advanced sessions around including advocacy in the classroom. So there really is something for everybody who might attend the summit.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know there's some skills sessions too. So if you are up on your content knowledge of advocacy, but you're a little bit more nervous about actually putting some skills into practice, there's opportunities for that too. But if you're still curious about the Advocacy Summit and what it might be, we have two opportunities for you to participate in some live stream events just from the comfort of your own home. And so one is coming up actually this Thursday. It's a live stream event with advocacy professionals from around the country, and it's called Advocacy to Action. So basically taking those content knowledge skills and how do you put them into actual action as a public health professional or a health education professional. So that's coming up. It's down below, August 26th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, from Advocacy to Action. And again, you just meet us right here on the SOPHE social media pages, and you'll see the live stream event. There's another opportunity for you to check in with the advocacy crew. That's happening on September 9th. and at 3 p.m. And this one is called Making Your Public Health Voice Count. And that, again, has just a panel of advocacy experts who are health educators or public health professionals in some capacity. So really two completely free events where you can really brush up on your advocacy skills and see if you want to jump in and get involved in that advocacy summit coming up in October. There's
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Heather.
I was just going to say you can learn about these as well as additional webinars that we'll be hosting. And I think you were just about to talk about that in a second. But you can learn from a lot about these different events on our SOPHE website. So sophe.org/calendar is going to be another really great way for you to easily access and register for all of these events so that you can add it to your calendar and just have it set up and ready to go.
All right. And the final thing I want to mention is that the advocacy trustee of SOPHE this year, Sabrina, has organized a very cool webinar event, again, a free event that's about public health and law. So again, that's really part of the advocacy mission, is sort of understanding what our role is in law making. And that webinar is going to happen August 30th at 2 p.m. So that's also coming up. So there's lots of opportunities to get involved in advocacy, especially SOPHE-related advocacy. And if you have any questions or anything at all, again, Dr. Lexi Blavos and myself, we are the co-chairs of the SOPHE Advocacy Committee, and you can reach out to us via Facebook, social media, or our email addresses.
And that's actually a perfect segue. So I wanted to know if you could talk a little bit, Lexi, about what exactly is the SOPHE Advocacy Committee? How can people get involved? Kind of like, what is it that you do month to month, and sort of, the work on resolutions? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. So the Advocacy and Resolutions Committee meets monthly for about an hour. And we actually talk about advocacy efforts that we're engaging in. We help to set the agenda for SOPHE by writing resolutions. One thing SOPHE cannot do is advocate for the profession on the Hill without resolutions that have come through and been written from the Advocacy Committee. So membership does have a say in setting that role. So teams of usually 4, there may be sometimes 2, but usually teams of 4 take on a specific topic that they're wanting to write a resolution on. For example, voting rights and public health, vaccines. So there are a lot of opportunities. And pretty much if somebody's a SOPHE member and you have an interest, if you're not already part of the Advocacy Committee, you can join us anytime. You can do that by reaching out to either Megan or I or Sabrina, reaching out to Aaron, just pretty much letting anyone in SOPHE know that you're interested, and they will get you connected with us. And we'll send you an email, welcome you, and let you know when the meetings are happening.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's true. I think, my first advocacy summit, I'm not as seasoned as Lexi is, and mine was in 2018, and I wanted to get involved with advocacy. And so what I did is I just literally emailed the SOPHE main email, and actually Lexi's name was given to me, and then I looked for them when I went to the virtual summit. So I looked for people to connect to, and that's how I ended up here. So everybody is welcome. I will say it's a great way to get some advocacy experience in a really open and welcoming environment. So no one's going to be judging you or making you feel like you're not involved.
No, and it's a completely collaborative process. And while, the resolutions don't go through what we would call peer review, as they're not blinded, a team does write them and submits a draft to leadership. We review, and if there's things that we think are missing or need to be adjusted, we certainly let the team know so they have the opportunity to make those adjustments before it comes back to the full committee. And once the full committee votes to approve on our level the resolution, then it moves up to the Board of Trustees from there. So just because we write it doesn't mean it's automatically accepted as is. Sometimes there's revisions.
Yeah. Although I do want to highlight that, if that's okay with you, Heather, some of the recent resolutions that passed, so people can check those out on the SOPHE website. So we recently passed an LGBTQIAA resolution that helps support lifting up health and getting rid of those health disparities and health inequities going on for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and other identified folks, which is just an excellent step forward. We're also just passed an ableism resolution where we're looking really at sort of all-inclusive representation and protection for those who might identify as having a disability in some way. And so that's really exciting. That team came in and just really took charge of it. And currently, if you're excited, we're working on one about vaccination policy and also about voting rights. So those are really important issues that SOPHE would like to cover. Those kind of things bubble up in our advocacy committee meetings, and then we get a team on it. So if you're particularly excited about those two things, or there's another advocacy area that you feel is missing in SOPHE, we want to hear from you. So come on and join us.
Absolutely. Can I ask too, I know that we were thinking about a few different areas on how to create that ask for the upcoming summit. Is there a resolution that usually backs that as well? And sort of how do we get to the point of what we're positioning as those asks for our legislators at the local and national level?
So sometimes a resolution is part of that. Sometimes it's a white paper.
Okay.
More often, it's SOPHE staff who have really spent time looking at the legislation that's currently in Congress or what they know is going to be proposed soon. And so we try to find a tie to actual current legislation wherever possible, because of course it's more likely that, you know, we're going to get something through this year if it's already, you know, in the congressional sequence. However, that doesn't mean that we don't ask them to write new legislation. So, you know, if that comes up, we will look for champions.
Love it.
In our governing bodies.
Yeah, and this year is really exciting. I know I'm speaking for Lexi and I both when we're very excited about the theme this year because it's just so important. So advancing health equity at every level really helps us hone in on the fact that we need to really work on these health equity things, right? So in our world right now, we have a lot of what we might call a disparity. So differences in health based on sort of social identities, such as race or class, things like that. And advancing health equity at every level for us really means we're going to work not only at the federal level, but also at the state and regional level. So there'll be some really cool advocacy presentations around how to work at the local and state level too, to really get health equity moving in your community, because sometimes that's where you get just the most effort. But to your specific question about what legislation we'll be advocating for at the summit, that kind of depends, like Lexi said, on what's going on in Congress at that moment and where we feel like we have some good pressure and power behind it. So there's a lot of cool things being talked about right now, but I don't know if we're allowed to mention that. So,
well, I think you bring up such a good point too. I work very closely with our chapters as part of membership and the umbrella that I serve at the National SOPHE office. And I think one thing that's really always been a takeaway for me at our summit is that you really get these valuable resources and these asks that you can then take back home and apply at the local level. So then you can have these follow-up conversations and really impact your local community in a way that could have a direct impact, not only with us as professionals, you know, certified health educators and health education specialists, but also people working and actively doing health promotion in the field. I think that's critical because not only is it impacting us as professionals, but it's going to impact our neighbors as a community, right? And that's kind of what we want to do in public health altogether. That's like why we started doing this in the first place.
Absolutely. We're all community minded, right?
That's right.
And you also remind me that there are some other folks in our communities as professors or health educators that are students. And this virtual summit about advocacy is really a great place for students to get engaged with SOPHE. It's a smaller group, so it may be less overwhelming than the bigger conference, which I also recommend. But it's also just a real good way for them to start looking at advocacy as a part of their role, which I know is recently added into the competencies and really highlighted. And so I think it's a great place for students to be encouraged to participate and attend. And this year, because it's virtual, it makes it really accessible for all as well.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And I want to add, you know, as programs adjust their curriculum to include courses on advocacy, of course, it's going to, perhaps take a little bit of time to certainly make those adjustments. This is a great opportunity for your students to engage in advocacy in a different way than perhaps it's, taught in 1 or 2 classes in 1 assignment or so. As I know, it has been at my university where, we're really kind of thinking about how do we increase this given the new competency.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, everyone. We wanted to keep this short and sweet because really this is just a preview for what's to come. But we're so glad that you were able to check in with us. This will be live and posted on our channel so you can catch it later in case you missed it right now. And we're really excited to see you. So as you can see in the ticker below, our next live stream is coming up this Thursday at 3 p.m. So we're going to be going live on these same channels. We're going to be talking about how to take advocacy to action and giving you a preview of what's to come at the Advocacy Summit. After that, we also have a webinar on August 30th. And we have our upcoming live stream number 2 on September 9th. So do check back at the SOPHE website for any and all of these webinars, all of these free events and opportunities. And we look forward to seeing you at the Advocacy Summit. You can still register. There's still time to get those Hill visits scheduled, and we are happy to do that for you as part of the National SOPHE team. And that's all for now, but we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much for joining us, and great to see you this morning, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.